Hey, for folks that are coming in, just if you can, try to enter topics in the chat that you're interested in learning about today so I can see if I can cover those. If you have any specific questions as we go through the content today, please do add them to our Q&A and I will go through our questions live at the end of the session. So I will leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end to make sure that we cover any Q&A questions that come up. Okay, so in the interest of time, let's get started. Okay, so here is our Hypernatural dashboard. This is where creation starts. As I said, I won't cover too much on the getting started piece, and that's generally what we'll cover in the 101 session. So if you are interested in more about how to get started, please do attend our 101. We do both of these on a monthly basis. Here's our prompt box. You can get started with a prompt. You can get started with narrated audio, narrated video, or a voiceover. So voiceover is if you have a script and you just want that script to be narrated, you would use the voiceover option. Um, you can also add content to the videos. You can add library items. You can add photos that you've uploaded or videos that you've uploaded. It wouldn't necessarily start from this, but it'll just make sure that that content is used in the creation of the video. You have your styles here. Again, I won't go through those in too much detail. The length of the clip, and then the aspect ratio of the clip that you are hoping to make. Um, you have a ton of ideas here that you can go over. So we have fan fiction, things for kids, marketing. So if you're ever interested in just checking out one of the ideas, you don't know how to get started, this is a good starting point. Just quickly, because we've just launched these. Like for instance, if I select AI ad, it'll take me to this new script creation place where you enter your script, um, and you can go from here. So this is what we call a template. Another option here is like the holiday movie trailer. Here it'll actually start from characters, so you can add your characters here that will be included in, and then the next thing is to go through the script. So I won't go through those in too much length. I'm going to assume that most of the people that are here today and listening have used and created videos before. So this is just very high level how to get started. Um, for today's video, I want to create an ad that is for a towing app. Um, and we're going to call it Snap Tow. Um, and essentially it'll just be a short clip. I'm going to start from a script that I've prepped, and I kind of go over a little bit about how would I get this script to really do what I want it to do. So this is just a script I prepared. We're going to use photographic for this. I'm going to keep the length as is because it's already kind of telling me what the length is by this script. And we're going to use landscape for this. Okay, so you see the script is coming in. It's made some changes to kind of just fit the structure needed for Hypernatural video. Here we have our narrator.
Every character deserves the right voice.
I like our narrator, so I'm going to keep Brian, but if I didn't want to keep Brian, I could go here and select a different narrator. I also have a custom voice, so if I wanted to use my voice, which I've already recorded. Hello there, I'm ready for my role. Hello there, I'm ready for my... I could use my own voice, or I could go ahead and create a voice here. To create a voice, you would just record yourself speaking this. You would click this button here, record this, and try to speak. It doesn't have to be these words, but as long as you are speaking, we recommend about 30 seconds, but you can get at least 15 seconds to make sure that the voice sounds the way you want it to sound. Or you can also upload a file. Here, if you already have a recorded file of a voice you would like to use, you would upload a file here. Make sure you're naming it here. Okay. Okay, photographic style. Again, we've already talked through. I wanted to use photographic style, but I could also use some of our stock styles here. And then I've created a couple of custom styles that I've used for prior videos, a nostalgia style and like a cartoon illustration, or I could go ahead and create a whole new style for this video. I would add an image for reference, or I could just describe it. if I have a very clear idea about what I want this style to look like. Okay, but I'm going with photographic, aspect ratio 16, landscape, and then our characters. So this ad has five characters. It has a mom, a dad, it has two kids, and it has who we're calling our roadside assistants. So I've created characters for these, so I'm going to look for them. One thing to call out about these characters, is I put these characters in coats. I wanted to limit the possibility that they'd be wearing anything other than coats, so I made sure to put these characters in coats. Um, I've uploaded these characters and created them that way, but you could also, let's say if I wanted to be a woman in her 30s wearing winter gear, straight hair, um, say I wanted to be an Asian woman in her 30s wearing winter gear, straight hair, um, shoulder length, anything else I might want to add, glasses. And let's generate this character. So I didn't upload an image for this. I'm just creating this one from a pure description. So that is the character. And it's going to come out with some example images. And you can see that it's also created the clothing description, the distinguishing characteristics, her hair color, her hair length, gender, etc. So I can go ahead and change these. One thing to call out about creating a new character is this is now the reference image. So it creates a reference image here. So as I make changes to this, the reference image won't change. What will change is just the example images. So let's say I wanted her to wear a hat. See, hat and boots. I'm going to regenerate this and include a hat. So you can see now in the example images, she is wearing a hat, but the reference image, she's not wearing a hat. So the reference image, again, will not change. I think if you want to make some drastic changes to this character, or you're like, actually, I do not want this character at all, it doesn't make sense to go ahead and make edits here. Like if you're making a drastic change to this character, I would just start it from scratch, and just not create this character. But anyway, she looks great, but I already have a character for this person. Okay, so I have our four characters for the family, and then I've created a character for roadside assistance. Okay, so now we have our custom characters all created for this. And now I'm going to go through the descriptions here. So one thing I like to do before selecting make video is to go through the scene descriptions, um, and make sure I feel good about it. Highlights, cut through visibility. I'm going to just say dad is in the driver's seat, mom is in the passenger seat. Kids are in the back. Okay. Right, so here kids are in booster seats. I do not need these children in booster seats, so sit in the back. And I don't want blankets. So bundled in puffy coats. Liam. Liam is actually a little older than Emily, so I'm gonna make Emily clutch stuffed animal. Okay, so I'm okay with these lines here. But yeah, so I would suggest just going through this in more detail. I know sometimes, you'll add a script and kind of just assume that it does what it does, but like it does sometimes make changes to the script. So I would just review it to make sure you feel good about what is in it. Um, Scene descriptions and the narration. The narration, nothing has changed. Okay. So let's just, for the sake of time, let's make this video. Okay, I have just, I guess, really quickly to go through some of the other things as that video gets made. All the videos get saved here. So here you can see your characters, styles, voices. One thing to highlight about managing these, so if I go into Emily, for instance, and I can make edits to Emily. I can, change her clothing, her characteristics. But again, the reference image will not change. So if I want to make drastic changes, it's sometimes better to just start over. I can change her voice, or I can delete up here. And then similar, I can delete here. With styles, very similar. You can delete here, edit, or use in a video. Um, for this one, I can make changes to the description and regenerate. A lot of times with the style, it's really hard to get a sense of. Yes, I like the reference image here. This reference image was created by Hypernatural when I created this style, but sometimes it's just a little hard to know exactly what the style is going to look like until you use it. So like one reference image is helpful, but it isn't everything. So just something to keep in mind as you're using these. And then same thing here. I can go ahead and delete this, etc. Now with voices, I can preview my voice this way, but I cannot make edits to my voice, so I can only delete the voice. So if you ever wanted to make changes to a voice or you're tired of this specific voice and you don't need it anymore, then you can go ahead and delete it. Or you can, if you have enough space for all the custom voices you'd like, depending on the plan you are on, you could keep this voice and just create a new one. All right, so no, this is okay. So this is a video that was created just now. And we're gonna go ahead and watch a couple of scenes.
Roadside assistance in a snowstorm.
Okay, we're officially stuck.
Are we sleeping in the car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
So that is so silly.
No,
We'll go ahead and change
I've got this.
Snowstorm, flat tire, dead battery. When the road surprises you, help shouldn't.
Unmute.
Okay, great. So this is what I'm working with, and I'll go through and kind of make changes to each of these. Let me just take a quick look. Okay, sorry, just gonna go through really quickly. All right, so let's go through what are the possible changes I can make to this. Right now, as you all know, when you create a video in Hypernatural, it starts with stills. So the initial video created just has a bunch of still images. Think about it like a storyboard. Um, and you should use it like a storyboard before you add what we call motion to this. So if I wanted to go and animate all these scenes, I will make edits to this before I opt to animate these. I did not use a nationally known company. I think if you work for that nationally known company and they're asking you to create an ad, then for sure go for it. For the sake of this, I just created something that was completely made up. So, all right. So we're going to start with our global settings. So when I'm not clicked into a scene, these are our global settings. We have the design settings here, our script, and then our audio settings. Our design, again, this is global for the entire video, so this covers captions. You can hide your captions across the entire video, change the sizing, change the location of them, and then also change the highlight of these. So let's say you want the highlight to be green or pinkish, purplish, blue, whatever it is. This is where you would go ahead and do that. Gonna keep it black for now. Right, so we're keeping them small and then low. And then you can also change the styles here. So there are a few styles you can select from in terms of captions. Now, the style, this is if you decided you do not like the style used for this video and you want to change it, you can go ahead and change that here. And then here's where you would add a brand. So in this situation, I didn't make a logo for this, but I could have made a logo for this or use the logo that existed and added that here, and that logo will just show up in one of the any corners. I mean, this is going to be a bad example because it's going to use a person's face, but let's just try it. Just for the sake of knowing what it looks like. So here, you would see like the logo here on the top, left, top right, and that's how it would show up in the video. And I don't want to use this for now, but that is an example of how you could add a logo across the entire video. Okay, so that's everything in our global design settings, our script settings. So here is where you would edit the script. So if you wanted to make changes, something didn't sound right, etc., this is where you would go ahead and edit parts of the script. So for instance, I don't really care. I left this on purpose, but I don't care for this roadside assistance in a snowstorm intro. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I could either delete it or I could, actually, let's leave that for now. I'm going to show you another option. So let's say, for instance, I don't want roadside assistance in a snowstorm, but maybe I did want like a mute scene. So what I would go here is just mute this scene. So now it leaves and I could like add the logo here, or add something else that like is more visual, but like quiet.
Okay, we're officially
Right.
stuck.
So that is a way to like have this like empty state scene where there is no narration or dialogue. But here I'm going to go ahead and delete this scene. I'm doing this for the sake of just kind of showing what happens when I make edits to the script. Um, Also, I've now tried to create this scene a couple of times, and I know this like my toes are freezing scene isn't great. I can totally change that. But for the sake of just showing you what it looks like to remove some of these scenes, I'm gonna remove that. And let's say I want to add a different scene for Emily. So I'm gonna leave Emily here. Right, so this is how I select who the speaker is for the scene. It can either be the narrator or it can be one of the characters. So for this one, I'm gonna keep it as Emily, and I can just say it's so cold out. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna save the changes I made to this. So now to regenerate, this does cost credits. Um, the amount of credits cost to regenerate the audio is dependent on a couple of things. So first thing, when you regenerate audio or images, it will regenerate all the audio and images. So it doesn't just regenerate the part that you changed. So tip one is like, if you're going to make changes to the audio, please make all your changes, as many changes as possible in one go. That way you're not paying to make, you know, multiple changes you're paying the same amount of credits for. So if and when possible, try to make your changes in a bundle. Um, this audio amount costs 3 credits because it is based on the length of the video. So if my video was significantly longer, regenerating the audio would cost more credits. I'm only regenerating audio here, and I'm probably not going to do that, but to regenerate the audio, I could also regenerate the images. Now, a reason why I might regenerate images. So let's say I actually don't want Liam to be the boy in this video. Um, if I wanted to, I could select a new character here. And then let's see, I'm going to select Maya as to play Emily. And then here it says something has changed. I can go ahead here. And here, if I've selected a whole new character and this character has speaking parts, I am going to regenerate images and audio to make sure that the new character shows up and that her voice is being used for her speaking parts. So that will cost a total of 16 credits. Of course, sometimes it doesn't make sense to regenerate in this way, and maybe it just makes sense to start all over. So just be mindful of like how many credits certain things cost, and if it makes sense to just start from scratch because the characters aren't right, etc., then you can do that. One tip on this, like let's say, you really like some of the scenes here, and you wanted to keep, Matthew as a character, and you like all the Matthew scenes, but you needed to change the kids, that might be a good, I mean, this is a short video, so this probably makes more sense to just regenerate the video. But if it was longer, that might be a good instance and when it makes more sense to start from scratch. If you go and start from scratch, you can then go and find the Matthew scenes in generated. So all the scenes that you actually liked of Matthew, you can go and put them in another video. So this will show everything that's generated. Like this even shows you what was generated for the characters. So you remember that woman that we created earlier and the hat, the generated images for that also pop up here. So I could use those images in my videos as well. Okay. Let's go back to script. I can also make changes to a specific character. So if I wanted to make changes to Matthew's voice,
Every character deserves the right.
maybe I wanted him to sound different.
Every character deserves the right voice.
I would go ahead here and select a new character and then let's see.
Every character deserves the right.
So we selected a new voice. I'm going to save that character. And now I'm going to regenerate. And I'm going to actually regenerate this time so we can see what it sounds like, but I'm only going to regenerate the audio because I've only changed Matthew's voice. I have not changed what he looks like. I have not changed what the characters look like. Let me also change Emily back to Emily. And I'm going to just regenerate the audio. Okay, so while that's working, okay. Okay, so we can now listen to his new voice.
Dad, my toes are freezing.
Nope, I've got this. Snowstorm, flat tire.
Right, so now we've changed it to the new voice. Okay, so I do want to make changes to some of these, also these images. So that's kind of how you can change like parts of the script, whether it be the characters, the voices, or you know, the actual dialogue and narration in the script. You would go into the script and then audio. Here you can change the voiceover speed. So let's say I wanted to make it faster. This is just to show what it sounds like,
Okay, we're officially stuck.
Are we sleeping in the car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
right? So faster. It was at 0.9 originally.
Okay, we're officially stuck.
Are we sleeping in the car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
Okay, so that's how you just increase, decrease the voiceover speed. The voiceover speed is applied across the entire video. So this is not just for a specific scene, this is for the whole video. Same thing with voiceover volume is that you can make it quieter, louder, etc. And when this matters more is probably when you do have audio as background music. So if I have uploaded a song here, I could make the audio. I'm going to use, this is not a song, but I'll use just to kind of showcase. So I can make the audio quieter. Or if I wanted the audio to be really loud and the voiceover volume to be low. This is also, I mean, a potential hack for creating music videos is you could upload the music, remove the captions. So I go to design, hide all the captions, and then make the voiceover volume all the way to 0, make the audio 100. That is one way to potentially get like music and no narration. Or go ahead and mute all the scenes, which is a little more manual, but that's just like a hack if you ever wanted to do that. Okay, so those are our global settings. Now I want to make edits to specific scenes, starting with, you know, she's showing them her toes because they're freezing. So I don't love this scene. And I also don't like that she's in the front seat. I want her to sit in the back seat, not rubbing her cold toes. So right, so here you're kind of like, this is exposing. Let me actually just go back to this. So this is swap and generate new. So in this setting, you can go ahead and change. It's exposing what the prompt is for the specific image. It's also exposing the setting prompt for this image. So you can kind of see that like, I mean, which I like the setting, they're inside the vehicle. That's great. But it's showing you a little bit about like what was originally put as the prompt for this specific image. So she's in her hat, sitting in the vehicle. I don't want her rubbing her cold toes. Vehicle sad, right? Like I think what's more important here is how she looks and how she feels, sad and scared. Um, Sitting in the back seat of the vehicle. I'm gonna try to see if I can get Liam included in this backseat of the vehicle with Liam. Seatbelts on. Emily. Okay, Emily is sad and scared and a light purple. Okay, so we're gonna try this and see what gets generated. Okay, so here we have Emily sitting in the back seat with Liam. Apparently Liam is smiling, so I didn't clarify. And this is also going off of like the character descriptions, right? So when I created Emily and Liam, I made them smiling. And so they're perpetually smiling unless I say otherwise. So I could also go in here, um, Liam, who is also concerned, and make changes to this. Okay, great. So now they're looking at each other and they both look concerned. So I'm happy with this one. Similarly, this
We're
one,
sleeping in the car?
Yeah.
right? Like, why would he be happy that we're sleeping in the car? So I'll make changes to this too. Close William with a surprise expression with a concerned, right? Surprise could be happy, surprise could be anything. So it's important to add a little bit more of understanding of like what that emotion actually is. Close up of Liam in the back seat. Okay, so I'm kind of just going through some of the changes I would make before I select full motion. Um, this specific scene has a ton of custom characters, and I say this because, right, so now we have him, he looks concerned, he's wearing his seatbelt. This is great. Um, but let's say like this specific scene, maybe I don't like this.
Snowstorm, flat tire, dead battery.
Maybe I want to change this to something else. I could start by using our stock library instead of creating a whole new image. Now, our stock library only has animated videos. So I think someone in the chat also asked about this, like, could we make um could we make it like always animate an initial image? Um, so that isn't a setting that currently exists where the first image is always animated. And if you sometimes see animated clips in your video, it's because it matched up with a library asset. So that means you entered something, it matched pretty well with a library asset. So the system decided to insert a library asset, which is an animated clip. Um, so if you wanted to, and the first scene was something that you could easily pick out of our stock library, that is a great use of the stock library. I'm going to go into like this specific scene where there aren't any custom characters, so I don't need it to use characters from my custom set of characters. There isn't anything super special about this scene, and it's likely that the stock library will have something. So let me see if I can find a flat tire. Okay, those were not great. Tire. Right. I mean, I guess ultimately what it's showing you is these are the best options for this. So you can see the tire rolling in, and obviously like the closest option to something I would want here is this. Um, that is again, if I like don't want to pay to animate this scene and I just would rather use a custom library asset because it's here. Um, Another place where this could be good is like the car is driving in, right? Like I could use something else here You see this car pulling in. It's already animated. Instead of paying to animate the scene, I, I could just use this one. So let's use that for now. And then even this scene, something to call out is you're noticing about on the stock side is the stock library will automatically, based on the clip you're selecting, start to give you the best options based on your clip. If it didn't already enter a stock library item, it's probably because there isn't a stock library item that is exactly what it is that was in the description of that specific scene. So, do with that what you will. But if you're willing to change it or like, oh, this can look like the beach, maybe, I mean, I don't know why this specific scene would, but if you were willing to change it that much and you wanted to look at other stock library items, you could search those here. Okay, so another thing I want to change, well, actually, let me see. We did the media, we're swapping things out. We'll talk about the animate with AI in a second. Um, Generated items. So let's say, if I liked that one where Liam was laughing more than where Liam and Mia both look concerned, I could go back to that specific image. When I go to generated, I can also search by images or by video. So I haven't animated any of these images yet, so therefore there's no videos attached to the specific one yet. Um, okay, and then also I can upload stuff. So if I have my logo, I could upload it here. Um, and I can add as a new layer. So this is, let's say I just wanted to add my logo to the very last scene. Um, right, so this scene here, I want to add the logo here. Instead of replacing, because replacing current will, completely change the scene to include the logo and nothing else. But instead, I want to add this as a new layer. So now it's huge. We're going to go to design. And then here you can see image one is a layer included here. And I can make this smaller and I can put it in the corner somewhere. Oh goodness. Right? Or maybe that wasn't also the best color for this because it's kind of dark, but you know. So I can add it to just this scene. Or maybe I want it to be larger and like really obvious. So I can add the logo just to the scene in this way instead of adding it as a brand item and adding the logo to every single scene. And then once I'm like, actually, no, I don't want this. I can just go here and remove image one. Um, if you plan to animate this entire thing, I mean, you can add the image before or after animating, but it might make sense to add things like that after animating so you kind of know how that image is going to move and animate. Um, and then you can go ahead and add like layers on top of it. Okay, so those are the few different things we can do to change out the media. Um, Pan and zoom, I won't go over in too much detail, but essentially like this is the way that the still image kind of comes into picture, whether or not it like, here,
Snap towel. Help
right?
on the snap.
So this is kind of like going down, this pan down situation. Maybe I want cinematic.
Okay, we're officially.
All right, let's do.
Snap towel. Help on the snap.
Right, where it kind
Okay.
of like does a zoom out or zoom in situation. I can change the speed of this. This only applies to still images. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this personally because I want to animate most of my video. But if you are planning to keep still images in your video, then definitely play around with the pan and zoom and make sure that you get the right feel for how it is that you want that specific image to pan and zoom across the scene. Um, Okay, then for captions, this is the caption setting for this specific scene. So if I wanted to remove captions for just that scene, I could do that. I could also make this large. A good example of this is we ran an ad with like a promo code, and if we want the promo code to be large, I would make just, let's pretend that this is a promo code. I would make that extra large so that way.
Snap towel. Help on the snap.
Oh, I forgot I removed all the
Okay,
captions. Let's see. Bring our captions back. Okay, so now you can see I've made this one large. And like if it was just gonna say snap snapto, then this would be like a really good use of the extra large because that way it just shows that specific word. Um, of course, in this situation, it's going to say all of them.
Snaptow. Help on the snap.
Okay, we're official.
Um, but again, this is how you can like kind of control the captions for a specific scene. The only thing you control captions for a specific scene are the size, the positioning, and then whether or not you want that want the captions hidden for that scene. Another reason you might want it hidden for this is maybe you want the logo and it's going to say like Snapto on it or whatever, and therefore you don't need the captions for this scene. So you could just hide for this specific scene. In terms of transition, so this is like transitioning in and out of a scene. You can do this like for each and every scene. You could also come up here and then edit all transitions. So if you wanted to do globally across all the videos and just decide like, actually, I don't want any transitions or you want the exact same transitions, you would go here, select the transitions, and then apply to all scenes. And then layout. Layout is also available, whether it's an animated clip or a still image. You could change the size of this here, the positioning. If you wanted it to specifically zoom more in on this or on the trees. And this just, there are multiple use cases as to why you might want to change the size and the position of a specific clip. Okay, so if I were going to do this for real, I might make a few more changes, but in the interest of time and just to kind of get into animating and adding full motion, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. I sometimes just go full motion right away. You could, if you wanted more control, go into animate with AI and animate them scene by scene. So this really just depends on like how much time you want to spend doing this or how much control you want here. But you could select here and then kind of add instructions for how the animation should look. Again, in the interest of time, I'm just going to go full motion. And then what I'll do is make a change to an animation that I don't like. All right, so we're just going to add full motion here. Oh no. Did I select? Where did that one go? Did I use this one? Was it this one? Oh, interesting. It went back to my old one. Let's go back. Here we go. Sometimes if you ever see like some of the videos some of the images that you changed don't look the way you changed them, right? So right now it was showing her with the toes. Just refresh and it'll come back. All right, so now you're seeing the right images and we're going to add motion. Okay, so as it's adding motion and animating all of our scenes, let me go through some of these questions. Okay, I'll go through the motion questions as I, go through after it animates here. So it is 15 credits for each animation. It is 1 credit for a still image, but it is 15 credits for each animation. But one thing I'll add is that if you don't like an animation and you want to just reanimate without further instructions, you can always reanimate an image for free. You get about 10 free reanimations per day. Okay, yeah, I'll go through those questions right now. Okay, so in terms of model use, generate, we are always testing and evaluating new models. We use a bunch of different models um, in our tool, and we don't yet expose the model being used for them, so I won't be able to tell you exactly which one. So it kind of just depends on the image, so like if they're characters, we prefer a different model. If there are no characters in the scene, then it's a little like then we can use other like potentially less expensive models. So it kind of just depends on the scene, but we're working on and thinking through. I know we know people want more control over what the model is, so we understand that that is a need. But please note that like we are doing a ton of eval to make sure that we are providing the best possible model at the best possible price point through each of these animations and yeah, so still images and animations also use different models. All right, so we have our images here.
Okay, we're officially stuck.
Are we sleeping in the car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
Nope, I've got this.
Okay, so now we're seeing some lip sync happening, and I realized that that they are smiling here. Don't love that. I have a couple of options for changing this specific scene. Again, if I there are a couple of things I would personally, I think what I would do is I would actually just generate a whole new image here. If I care deeply about the fact that they're smiling and I don't want them smiling, because a good chance is if I reanimate it and even if I add new instructions, it'll still start with a smile and then move into the non-smile. Like it's still going to animate the image that you've added, right? So if I really don't like this image, I hate that they're smiling, then I will likely swap out the image for a new still before I animate it again. But let's say for this one,
Are we sleeping in the car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
so I don't like the lip sync for this one. So I'll show you all kind of how to do this one. So I go into reanimate with AI and it says, so gently follow. Okay, so this doesn't even slightly match what's happening here. Um, so Mia asking, Dad, concerned, and maybe I want um, placing her hands on her face. Okay, let's try that. So that reanimation is free. So if I go reanimate with AI here, it would not cost me extra credits to do this. I have about 10 free reanimations per day. Yeah, so the wheel on the right side of the car, I would remake this entire image instead of reanimating it. So car looks at dad. Inside the car, mom not smiling. Mom uh frustrated. Looks at dad who is driving with concern. Okay, we'll keep that. And let's see. I could add the details of the steering wheel, but I'm gonna just see what happens if I just to see what happens when I redo the still here. So here we go.
Car?
Dad, my toes are freezing.
Nope, I've got this.
Okay, so
Dad, my toes are freezing.
brother starts smiling. I don't like that either. And then Liam concerned, looks at the camera. Let's try this. And again, free reanimation. So I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable just like trying things out. Okay, so this is also not great. Let's do swap. I'm gonna start again, generate new. Because again, if I animate this, it's not going to change the scene much. It's going to just add motion to this specific scene. So I don't want to keep this. Looks at dad. Okay, inside the car, mom. Mom in the passenger seat, frustrated, wearing a winter outfit, looks at dad. Dun, both facing. Hmm. Let's just try this. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to Q&A portion for a second. So in terms of, okay, this only gets worse and worse. Okay. In this situation, I would probably go back to my initial image and try to see if I can start from scratch with this one. But just quickly, can sound effects like when be added in addition to voices? Um, we currently don't provide sound effects within the app, but a couple of potential um, workarounds for this is you could create an audio and like add them, but I think it would obviously need to fit the length of the it would need to fit the length of the video and when it would need to be timed perfectly because it's only one audio and the audio starts and ends or starts where the video starts and then, however long that audio is. So it's not the perfect answer, but that is one option. But that is a great question, and we are thinking about how to get sound effects into the app. Um, in terms of more robust, more relevant images, again, I think it's just like playing with the prompts here in the reanimation, doing the swap, keeping in mind that okay, a couple of things. Actually, before that even, creating characters is really, really important. So we have a ton of stock characters, and if they fit your like story perfectly, then great, that's wonderful. But once you start creating more specific videos and you get into a niche, the chances that our custom characters fit your niche perfectly is not as likely. Um, Also, character creation allows you to control a little bit more of like what the vibe of the character is, what they're wearing, what their setting is. And I would argue even like the style. So I'm using photographic characters in a photographic video, but if I wanted to create a 3D animation video, it would work out even better if I use a character in 3D animation. So having those characters created and set up is really, really important. Style, same thing. We have a ton of custom styles, stock styles that you could pick from. And like I think a lot of our stock styles are great. But if you have a very specific idea for how you want your video to look, you want it in black and white, you want it to look historical, like makes sense to create a custom style for that to get it to feel more relevant. Um, and the prompt will pick from all of those things. It picks from your characters, it picks from your style. So it's kind of creating a video that matches all of this. So like earlier, I tried to create this video using Wes Anderson's style, and you could tell by the video that it's like dating the video a little bit because of the style you're creating as well. So just something to keep in mind is that like your style and your characters matter a lot when you're creating your images and your videos. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's go back to um, but yes, I agree. Sometimes like it is hard to get it to prompt exactly the way you want it to. I think the thing to keep in mind is that there is a lot of prompting happening in the back end of this as well. Hypernatural is really set up for speed, right? Like you want a video and you want it fast. So the best way for the tool to do that is that there's a lot of prompting happening in the background that isn't always exposed. We as a team are working on ways to think about how to expose and give our users more and more control over what those images are, but that ultimately does affect what these images will come out to look like. It's things that you can't see. Um, let's give this one more try. All right, the setting. Okay, so also the setting has changed here, which I don't love. So let's see if we can pick out. So I'm gonna go into this because I like how this looks. I mean, the setting looks like he's in the sky, but he's in the car. So yes, okay. right? So I'm going to go back to this setting. I'm going to make sure that the video has, or the image has a setting here. And then inside the car, mom concerned of it. And let's try this. Okay. Okay, great. So now we have him sitting in the front on the left side. So,
Okay, we're officially stuck.
Are we sleeping in the car?
and just for the interest of time, I'm going to animate this. And let's see what we can animate. So, don't want her smiling, softly frowning. Don't know what that means, but let's try it. Softly frowning is simply gently fall outside the car window. If I had more time, I would be more thoughtful about what I would want this prompt to look like. But let's just see. So one thing, again, to keep in mind with when you add motion to a scene is that it is going to animate this specific image. So it's not going to come up with something totally new. It'll go off of what this image looks like. We're going to animate this. Um, One thing also to keep in mind is like if you're making a ton of edits and it's like, okay, this video is not doing anything that I want it to do, there's a good chance that like the initial prompt, the initial script or scene just wasn't the right script or scene for that video. So a lot of times it makes sense to just start from scratch instead of edit like making a ton of edits to a script that didn't work. So just something to keep in mind. Like if I open up a video and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like anything that I wanted it to look like, I would start from scratch and go deeper into the scene descriptions before I go and animate or go and create that video. Okay. Um, yeah. Again, if you have more specific questions, please do add to our Q&A. Um, yeah, in terms of like being mindful of credit usage, this is why I really encourage the use of our library and trying to get your still image right before you go and animate it. Um, just because, swapping out a still image is 1 credit versus animating is 15 credits. And then once you get the right still image and you need to animate or reanimate that, you get free reanimation. So that is one way to be mindful of how to use your credits. Um, yes, if you really wanted something to look exactly how you were hoping and you wanted more control over the prompting, you can certainly use a different app and then upload here. You can upload an image, you can upload a video. So that is totally an option. And sometimes, I mean, some of these images or some of these animations are a little longer than, what like, are we sleeping in the car? It could possibly be a little longer than this. We do cap the scene length, but if you upload a video that is, 10 seconds long, you could make the scene 10 seconds long so that it fits the entire video. Okay. Okay, in the interest of time, because we have 5 minutes, I will wait for that animation to hit off, but I'm going to given the question on exporting, and because that is the last and final thing to do when you're done with your video. Let's say you are ready to export this, you've made all your changes, you've animated, you've added motion, you've, made sure your script looks good, etc., and you are ready to export this. So you go here to export and a couple of things you could do. We currently have a direct connection to YouTube. We're working on direct connections to other social media platforms, but for now, you can only connect to YouTube. If you connect your YouTube, you earn 50 credits. So just by simply making the connection between your Hypernatural account and your YouTube account, you gain 50 credits to use here in Hypernatural. Um, Access here is unlisted, meaning anyone, if you share the link, anyone can see it. You can make it private or you can make it public. Public means that it'll show up on our Explore page, and it can show up in the search results. Resolution here, you have standard, you have higher def resolutions. Um, Something just to point out, you'll see this like little premium thing. You need a paid account in order to use these. Same thing with unlisted. Only free users only get public access, so they don't get private or unlisted links. Okay, so once you set this, let's say we're going private and we want it to be of highest resolution. We're going to select share. I know that might feel not like the right thing, but this what it does is that it creates the link, your private link. But here in the exports tab, it's exporting your latest version. When you think about exports, exports are like a snapshot of that video. So if you then go and make changes to that video after you've exported the video, and you come and download this exported version, it is going to download the exported version that does not include those 8 changes, right? It's like selecting save, basically. Like you didn't save it before you downloaded it. So think of export kind of that way. Um, so if you go and make more changes to this video, please make sure you come back here and I'll show you what it looks like once exporting is complete. So now your export is complete and you can download it. You come back here. Here you can download the latest version, right? It tells you when was this export completed, and it lets you know it expires in a month. If you need a new export, you go here and you start a new export, and you can change the resolution type here. All right. So we have a couple of minutes. Yeah. Kelly suggests to make sure that you did export the final version of that video. But if you have any issues with export, please do send those over to our help email. We have, just like wrap up on support, we do have a chat bot that answers things if it's like very quickly and easy, and you can probably find it in the help center. And the chat bot also goes off of, what previous people have asked. So you can go to the chat bot and ask questions that might be a little bit easier. If you need things that are more elaborate, specifically like things on pricing and changes to your account, etc., it's better to just go to our help at Hypernatural .ai account and send us an email. Obviously, we will not get back to you as quickly as the chatbot does, but we will do our best to respond as quickly as possible. Okay, and we have projects are automatically shared when you export, so they do automatically create a link when you export. But whether or not that link is public, private, or unlisted depends on the settings you select here. So share, you can select the settings here to make this a link, and then you can either copy the link here or copy the link in this button here. And then just quickly, so we can go, so I can show you all where to go for support. Click on your profile settings here, click on support, and then this will open up the chat. So you can either search for help here if you wanted to search through our help center, or you can ask a question and it'll take you to our agent. If you ever don't remember what the email is, it is help@hypernatural.ai, but you could also just ask the chatbot, like, what's the email? And it'll give you the email if you are looking specifically for the email. Okay, well, that is all we have for today. If you want to join another one of these, or maybe you can't join the next one, but you'd like to see a recording of it, please do register for future sessions and you will always get a recording of that session. If you have more questions, go to the chatbot, go to help at. And yeah, I know 1 hour is not enough time for all these questions, so please do come to us in other formats through email or through chat, and we will do our best to get back to you. Okay. So, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.